part two, where we start to bring the psychics in to see what they come up with. So it's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So the psychics, Raymond, present. Only thing they received, right, Bob, is just a picture. It's the only thing they got. So what did they come up with? We're going to find out. So we'll let people. Hello, Catherine. Welcome to the show. Give a round of applause to everybody that's coming in. So what do you think about this case? Quite interesting, isn't it, Bob?
It's very interesting. It's not a young one. It's a cold case, but it had a lot of publicity when it started, as we went over when we did the intro show earlier. But it's been reopened, and lots of activity is happening. So if we can help, we should.
Yes. Hello, Alexander. Welcome to the show. Give him a round of applause.
No. Hi, baby.
So let's see. Since Lala's up first, before we go over anything, hello, Barb Hartman. Welcome to the show. We'll start with Lala first. Go ahead, Lala. Introduce yourself. And welcome, H.S. Rice.
My name is Lala, mommy to Xander Bright. He's in the room. I communicate with spirits, other beings, sometimes aliens. They're all on similar frequencies, so it's easy for me to connect. I also read people by looking at their eyes or like pictures. And I do the dowsing rods. He's going like this, say this. Okay. That hit me in the face all the time. Okay. The rods always hit me. So this one was sad because she felt so sweet and gentle. Like her soul was good, a good soul.
Right.
I feel like she went through some trauma in her life, which made her depressed and kind of look down on herself a little bit. So she attracted sometimes not the best of people around her. Sometimes that's just the feeling she was giving me. I saw her at night laying on the ground with a man over her, restricting her airways. And I saw her kicking and punching, and it was indoors. The man was thinner, looked a little thinner than her, a little taller than her, real dark hair, but really cut close to the head, and a really thin mustache. And she kept saying J. She said July, and then she kept saying J or J. So it's either a J name or a G name. I just couldn't really hear it. I feel like the person had proof under their fingernails. There was proof left behind on the person that did it. And I said, well, where are you? And she showed me water, and she said under a bridge. But so she means near a bridge. She doesn't mean directly under it. She was just trying to show me a picture of, and it was, I think everything happened at night, personally. That's what she kept showing me. I have notes, sorry.
No, you're fine.
She kept showing a light brown leather jacket that the guy was wearing. I feel like so either it was weird because either SA happened or they knew each other romantically, but that was intertwined in it. I feel like she was maybe friendly with this person. I feel like she got close to the person and the person snapped over something. I do.
Interesting.
And I think that's it. But I mean, she has passed and she's okay now. She is just really sad and she really wants justice for her family. So That's her main reason. She wants justice.
Wow. Interesting.
Very.
Okay. And all right. Next up, Kat from Australia. Come on down. Welcome. Introduce
Hi,
yourself.
everybody.
Hello.
How are you all?
Doing fine. Tell us all about you.
I'm Kath. I like to dowse. I like to remote view. I like to fossick. I like to Reiki heal, animal communicate, bit of everything.
No,
but I
Penny
love to
Van.
dowse.
Her body has not been found. No.
Okay. Okay, so I started off with the photo, and then I go through a whole heap of questions.
And where did you get those questions?
My questions I created as intent for answering the questions that I'm after.
So did I give you those questions?
No, they evolve with every case. I started off with probably 2 pages, and the more experienced I get, the more questions come in, because I'm trying to go further down in layers than I used to go. Things seem to have changed at the moment here on wherever we are. All the energies have changed, and it's making me look at 2 or 3 layers down, because I'm finding the top layers often a trick.
So these are questions that you create yourself. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure the audience knows.
And
Yeah,
do you
no, I
use
create
do you
them.
use dowsing rods, Kath, to answer them?
I use the pendulum mostly with these because there's so many questions. I use the rods more outside, because I prefer them away from my body. Like you say, Lala, they keep hitting you all the time.
Yeah.
But I prefer to use the rods in the field, as opposed to the pendulum when I'm doing research. But each case is different, and I tend to have to bring in more questions. So I add those to my pro forma.
Okay. I just want to make sure nobody's thinking that I gave you a club.
No, all I get's the photo, and I've done a year in forensics, and I did a year in crim psych, and I'm an ex-information security analyst. So my mind's like that anyway. I like to try and get the big picture and join the dots as best I can. You never know if you're right. It's a hypothetical. So I'm very sorry for anyone that's involved in any of these losses. We're just trying to help bring them home. And with all the different gifts that we share, everyone seems to pick up on a different part of the string, if I may. And like not everybody's picking up the same time frame of the string, I feel, which is good because we all contribute in different ways, and different people pick up on different things. Some people will pick up on the perp, some will pick up on the victim, some just a feeling. I don't call myself psychic. I'm probably more clairsentient. You just kind of know stuff. I don't see things often. I do see stuff, but not often. I don't have people talking to me in that. I'm more a I don't know, practical, I guess. No offense meant by that, but I'm more business-like.
Right. I understand.
So I don't mean to hurt anybody when I say any of this. This one I found a bit tricky. I had trouble feeling from the photo. I had problems with the photo. At one stage, I felt it was inanimate. It was, is this really a person photo? I had a lot of trouble connecting with this one physically, emotionally. But I've done a whole heap, so I've summarized them so I don't take up too much time. So I'm very sorry, everybody. I feel this girl is a dual citizen. It's a USA case, 3 perpetrators. She will not be found. The law seems to be favorable to her at the moment. I feel they're wasting their time in one sense because she's going to be she won't be found. I feel she has passed over. She wants to be found. She was taken against her will. She was forced and threatened. I've got no body found as yet. The perps are not 100% Earth-based. She's not located on Earth. She's been gone for more than a month. The media at first didn't seem to be overly involved. The family are assisting and are sincere. This lady is aged female, aged 20 to 30, 5'5" to 6 foot. I've got very unusual eyes. Looks like two people in one. She wears jewelry on hands, ears, and has piercings. It feels like she was injured in the head, neck, arms, and hands. This created a lot more further questioning. I didn't pick up any SA. I felt she'd been taken before. From the injuries, I kept questioning because nothing made sense with the injuries. So I kept questioning. I said she's tied up. She's pulled, dragged, placed in some sort of an auto clamp chair. I know this is very out there, everybody, but this is what I got. And I've been over and over it to verify my answers, and I can't. This is what I get all the time. So I'm sorry, but this is it. I've got she's tied up, pulled, dragged, placed in some sort of auto clamp chair because she had injuries and I'd ask, was she cuffed? Was she roped? And none of them applied. So I had to keep going further. There's footage that shows the last sighting and that she was accompanied. It appears to be camera footage. She was injured by hand and a vehicle. So that created more questioning with this vehicle. 3 perps abducted, prior intent, uplifted, appetite for death, serial killers, G connections, G employees, connection to a large group. International in this situation meant including other planetary, intergalactic, international. And in this sense, because I had to keep going down because I couldn't find the country that was tangled up in it. Seems like the G are supplying them with parts. The officials are G. She knew something she shouldn't. It's a possession case, as in not in that type of possession. A mechanical machine hurt her on liftoff. Liftoff was public because I had trouble finding where she actually went from. I couldn't get a clear location on it. They seem to want mine supplies. She won't return, I'm sorry. Her possession is owned. There were experiments involved, no animals involved. The perps identified as security guards. Boy, I'm sorry, all my friends out there. It's hypothetical. G'day. The perps identified as security guards, border control. The current location is above ground, more than 100 k's up. There was no double movement. The access was easy, planned. She was watched. There is footage I keep getting. The location was regularly visited. Perps are in official positions. Disguises used. Money involved. The perps are total psychopaths and narcissists, but they've been trained like that. Fear from orders from up high. The vehicle was air-based. Perps are dual citizens. They've killed more than 20 and will continue, I've got, sadly. The perps are bald, no hair, eyes blue, slit-changing pupils, tall above 6 foot. All 3 look the same, pale white skin, clothed, AI, dual citizen, outer beings. Perps known to our friends. All have served time. Where, I don't know. I couldn't get a location of any form of serving time here. They weren't on parole. They weren't escaped crims. The vehicle was a plane, air-based, quiet and grey colour. The perps were mentally unstable, threatened, in full control, planned, relieved, no feelings at all of regret. It's a job and they weren't paid. I've got potential for the perps to act again. very high and no doubt. The confidence on that one was like 8 out of 10. So I'm sorry, that one's very... I've never done one like this where I had to keep verifying.
No, I understand. That's a lot of information. So thank you. Yes, so stand by.
Thanks.
Okay, next up, Inbal. Welcome to the show. Look at her smiling. Welcome.
Hi, Chris.
Hello.
Always
Thank you for
smiling.
joining.
Hi. Wow, that's a hard one to follow up, Chris. Not that I'm insecure, but that was such a lot of information sort of flowing, wasn't it?
Yes.
Very
So how are you
impressive.
doing?
I'm great, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
It's Friday night here in the UK, and as you can see, this this is what I do on my Friday nights.
You're right. Thank you for joining.
It's a pleasure. So, as you know, I don't actually do the reading beforehand. So, what I'm going to do is pull up the photo on the same screen that I'm seeing you and work with my tarot cards to see if I get any information. Hopefully.
Sounds good. Thank you, Barb Hartman.
Right. So, it's really interesting with an image that's like a photographer image that's not like a natural pose. So the connection that it gives is, on the one hand, it gives you kind of no insight to the person's personality at all, but what it does give you is a good clear shot of the eyes, and the eyes give a lot of information. So what I've got here is something along the lines of her angering a man who's a figure of authority to her. So either a father, a coach of some description, even like a secret boyfriend or something like that. And I feel like there was somebody in her life who was this figure of authority, but not exactly like a person of impeccable morals. And I feel like she did or said something that annoyed the person, and he just lashed out at her. I'm seeing a knife. I'm seeing just like force. I'm not seeing it as something premeditated, which is interesting. I'm seeing it as something that was kind of an explosion of emotions. And I'm seeing just the one knife, but a very powerful knife because it's held by a powerful person. And that makes me feel like it's something that was domestic, because this powerful knife doesn't look like a sword that's sort of there to look fancy or to do a job that demanded any accuracy. To me, that looks like a kitchen knife, a bread knife, maybe even like a butcher's cleaver or something like that, but not something that was kind of brought onto the scene. It looks to me like something that was just sort of grabbed in the heat of the moment, and that her life ended because of somebody's strength and force. Now, what I feel is interesting is that the person who committed the crime, the main person who committed the crime, then went and cooperated with people who are investigating the crime, or went and sort of sought themselves an alibi, sought himself an alibi by being very innocent and very visible around people that could then vouch for him. I see this person as, like I said, very strong. I think a gym goer. I think somebody who is outdoorsy. I'm seeing him with a bit of like a ruddy tan. So somebody who naturally would be very pale. I see him as somebody who wouldn't tan to any shade of brown, but tans to just like a shade of red. But I feel like it's somebody who was definitely known to her, where either they were in a close relationship together, not necessarily a romantic relationship, but some kind of an exchange, and there were at the very least some feelings of trust between them. After the crime, trying to see what we've got here, what we need to look for here, and after the crime, I see her hidden. It's saying to me hidden in a cave, but I think this is figurative. I'm not seeing caves around where she died. I feel like it's more that she was hidden around. It's showing me like a forested area, and it's showing that she could be found, that something was left at the spot to make it easy for the person to sort of then come and move her again. And I feel like there might have been one extra car trip going from a forested area to a water area, like a riverbank or something like that. And I feel like she's not far from where her family lived. So I don't feel like she was transported to be hidden, to be hidden somewhere genius, somewhere far away where she'll never be discovered. One nice thing is that I actually see the criminal being brought to justice. So if it's not something that happened yet, because I know a lot of the things we deal with on your show are very new. So if it's not happened yet, it is something that is coming, because the tarot doesn't know past, present, future. It just sort of tells you what it wants to tell you. And I feel like what do you call it? Like a bribe. I feel like an amount of money that would be offered for information would work extremely well, because the people around the killer are really looking forward to an opportunity to drop him in it, because his short temper and great physical strength make him a very, unpleasant friend to have around at times. So that's what I've got for this one.
That is so awesome. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure having you. And thank you for your time. Thank you so much. You have a good night. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. Next up, Kelly Jo. Welcome, Kelly Jo. How you doing?
Hi, everybody.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Kelly Jo. I'm a medium, psychic, clairvoyant. I do pets. I do a little bit of everything. First thing that I got was she was a sweetheart and she had plans and she never met a stranger. I feel like it was an older man, because I had a dream that night that I was being choked out and killed. And I saw my body being put into and it was an older gentleman, and she couldn't fight him off. And I feel like also he did stab her. He's well known in the community, and he did drop her body in a shallow grave by a creek, by a bridge, and it's it's only like 30 miles off of the state road where she lives.
Wow.
And they're gonna find her shoe.
Really? That's interesting.
And when they find her shoe, and this gentleman is going to get caught, because he's going to do something like that again. Because he was trying to assault her, and she turned him down, and that's why he killed her. and he has a raging temper. And I feel, she told me, she goes, but I had so many plans. You know, she was planning her life, and she was a bubbly, happy girl. So
Wow.
that's what she kept saying, but I had plans.
Wow. Okay.
So that's what, oh, and it was a SUVE crossover, dark navy blue SUV. I can't tell makes. It might have been like one of those Jeepy things.
Right.
Yeah, I get like a Jeep. And then I heard the name Jesse.
Interesting.
So that's all.
Okay. All right. Stand by. Thank you, Kelly Joe. Next up, we have Angela. Welcome, Angela. Introduce yourself.
I'm Angela Bowley. I'm a psychic medium, paranormal investigator. I am a psychic artist, and I paint portraits of spirits and also what spirits show me. In this case, I've shown a few things, but this is when I'm working these types of cases. It's not so much get images that are translate easily as artwork. So, but the first image that I saw at first was kind of a deserted area, and then a secret meeting, and then she went willingly with this person. There was a man. I kept getting controlling man. I kept seeing the rune Dagaz. So Dagaz is half light, half dark. I kept seeing that she felt like she was being pulled towards this negative person, towards this negative male, controlling male, very negative, bad boy. It's like the bad boy boyfriend, the bad guy. She knows about him. He's very controlling. He acts deceitfully. He acts like he's the king, like he's going to be this kingly, knightly, gentlemanly man, but he's actually has a very dark side. He acts as very deceptively. He's like the devil in a sense. I wrote down that she was being pulled back and forth between going to family and going to this man, going to family and then going to this man. And it was just this tug of war between the two. And I got that the man had a lot of strength, that she actually fought him off, that she met him consensually somewhere in some rural place. And they started to fight, and he attacked her. She resisted. She put a lot of resistance up. I got that she was sort of like a princess of sorts. And I get that there's a bushy area, and I was told if you get to a bridge, stop. Yeah, she's near, very close to a bridge. Stop and look straight ahead. I was told. Also, the park. Let's see, the man at the park. I got that she's deceased, and the male will be caught. I got that she will be exposed, like her body will be exposed somewhere, like somebody will find it. It will be found. Her remains will be found, because when they find her body, it's going to be very obviously that he did not care. The way he posed her, the way he laid the body out, he didn't do much to conceal the body. So there wasn't a whole lot of concealment involved. And because of his arrogance, I get the sense that he's very narcissistic, manipulative. He knows all the right words to say. He knows everything to do, to act in order to charm somebody. But then he turns around and controls women very much. And he was very controlling. But this will be a guided one. This is one where the police and everything involved will feel like they're guided easily to the suspect and to resolution, that he will be caught, but he will be caught because of his level of interference in the investigation. It's the level of interference in the investigation that clues people in. This guy could be involved, and as a result, he does end up being caught and convicted.
Interesting. All right, I'm just clicking on a few buttons. Stand by here for 1 second. And let's see here. All right. And let me hit one more button here. And action, Bob.
All right, let me Share screen.
So it's very interesting that. What do you think, Bob?
They're the psychics. They all did great. Okay, so sometime soon you should see Michelle Lee Rust page.
So that's her names, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, there. So you're seeing the web page. All right. Let me go back to it so I can read it. Okay, so Michelle Lee Rust disappeared over 20 years ago. Her husband called the family, her family, and saying, "Do you know where Michelle is?" Because she had been gone too long. He claimed that she was leaving, taking their van to go to a store to buy birthday supplies because the home was to be the site of a birthday party for her 3-year-old with the 3-year-old's her husband, the 3-year-old's father. Everyone kind of got upset when she didn't come back for a while. They called off the party. They began searching, and her father-in-law found the van parked in an unusual way, not far from their home. The police, upon doing detailed forensics on the van, found out her key broken off in the passenger side door. Now, lots of the psychics said several things. Lala says nighttime. Other people says taken away. Here's where I think let's suppose all of them are right. Here's where we run into a clear-cut person of interest. Her husband called the police and the family the morning the van was found. So if it was the night before and so forth, that call was a deception. So that's the logical conclusion if all of these psychics are right. The other thing that's really striking is all of them came up with enough to say it was near a bridge, near a river, and it's within a few miles of the home, and other descriptions. And I immediately got this picture. I went to a map and I looked where the home was, and there is a bridge not far from their home that goes across to Kent Island in the middle of the Chesapeake beginning. And it's mostly controlled by the government. There's government facilities there. And so if they hit it, it would not be some place where somebody's just wandering around to look for things because it's controlled. So that makes that a very interesting place to look for me because it is not far from their home. Okay, so the reason this really struck out at me and stuck out at me as a case, it's near where Lala and I live. They're near Baltimore. And the police reopened the case in May after 21 years of a missing person without resolution. So it was a cold case that they reopened. And the television people, local news, videoed the forensics people running a ground penetrating radar in the backyard of Michelle and her husband's home. So we're just getting lots of clues pointing. So I don't know what they found, of course. We don't have a clue. We don't know whether they found the shoe, whether something was found where the body was laid, given the descriptions of where she was put. It's just a deal. And so just a very interesting case. There's lots of stuff for people to now go read. But if any of the psychics want to take a look of a map of Kent Island and the bridge that comes from near Baltimore, take a look, because I just got this feeling, and I could be wrong, right? I could be completely wrong. You guys take a look and see if you can figure out some place to look. If so, I'll go look.
Now, what about the van? Wasn't there something about the van they found?
They found her key broken off in the passenger side door. But they did not find forensic evidence inside it other than what a normal owner of a van would. Her DNA would be all over it. So would his DNA. They own the van. But if all of them, all four of them got violence, all three of them got violence, four of them got violence against her, and that is inconsistent with, unless she was drugged out of the van and taken off and it was done later. So, I mean, she could be kidnapped and taken away, and because they never found a body. They'd have no body. They have no time of death. They have a time of disappearance as told to them by her husband. So we don't know when the murder was, but it's got to be around the time of the 3-year-old's birthday party. But there's lots of stuff online, and people should go look. But something about that bridge thing sticks out, and Kent Island would be a great place to hide that body, because it's a federal site used by a military and intelligence community, so it's not going to have easy access.
Yeah, so that was very interesting because the bridge came up a lot, right?
Yep.
In Creekway and Waterway.
Yep.
So that
and
was
that
very
is
interesting.
a heavily trafficked waterway.
So what do y'all think now, ladies?
What did the husband do?
He worked with his father, and they installed appliances and did handiwork. He's quite athletic, and just so you can go back and listen, Lala's description is close to a perfect match. And I assure you, I never showed her anything or told her anything.
I feel the father and son somehow in some way had something to do with it. Maybe one knows about it, or maybe both know about something. I don't know. Something doesn't feel right.
It was hard to get in, like I had trouble getting in, like you, Inala said. It was hard to kind of touch and get in. But then 20 years, it's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm surprised. Why are they asking now?
They found something. So they found enough to reopen the case and go do forensics at the house, looking for further evidence.
I got the initial impression that she was held for some time and made to suffer.
Mm.
So somebody's talked about being held and choked and restrained. I think a few people picked up on that, didn't they?
All of them got that.
So when we first looked at the case initially, Bob and I, and I think a lot of people in the audience thought as well, is that the minivan was staged. And I think
no
people in the audience said, even Dee and some other people said it was a distraction.
Go read about it. The van was absolutely staged. Absolutely.
So.
And it was government land.
No. Where I think we should look is government land. The van was parked in the street near their home, and her father-in-law found it.
Yes.
Maybe, because like I had trouble getting a location of where she actually was, taken. If it was staged, and I had no double movement either. So that staging makes a bit of sense to me.
Well, I mean, one of the things you did, Kathy, you talked like something, you described something akin to an alien abduction, and people have been snatched from behind the wheel of their vehicle.
Yeah, because there was, usually I can get a location, and then I go further and ask, well, how far from the last sighting? Nothing. It was just.
I think all the psychics have done. This is enough stuff to really try to put it together and send it.
And it was interesting, and I picked out all of this. I was basically just getting what I was getting and put notes together. And then as we're just before I was to come, I just did a little like mini reading with my rooms, and I got Manas, which is a bridge, and I got
Oh, wow.
Isa, which is ice, but it also can mean stop. And then Tiwaz, which is basically an arrow pointing. So I got the impression as soon as you get to the bridge, stop. She's right there. Just look ahead.
Right.
Okay,
Wow.
so there's two sides to the bridge. There's the side on the Maryland mainland, and there's a side on the island. So we'll have to figure out how to look both places.
What month
Yeah.
is she missing?
Go,
Hang on a minute. Let me
go,
look.
take your map and go 30 miles northwest from the point of where she was found.
She hasn't been found.
I know where the van was found.
I got it.
Go 30 miles, take a string, and do that. And that's approximately where she is.
Got it.
It's interesting. Sorry for interrupting. All you guys are saying the same thing. A friend of mine, I gave a friend of mine a crack at it. She'd never done it before. She interestingly ended up getting the perp's point of view. You know how we usually zone in on the victim? This friend of mine's zoned in on the perp. She's mentioning everything that you guys are saying. There's thick woodland. There's a stream. One man, jovial, flannelette shirt, pickup truck. The stream is like close to this wood cabin. She picked up that she met in some sort of a saloon. She met up with these people. She was on the way visiting someone. And the guy put the hard word on her, and she wasn't interested, and he went off his nut, and that's her version. So very, very similar to you guys. Big bloke, strong like a lumberjack. Well,
So just let me say but that really gives. Let's suppose all of that's right, and all of you have like night or what. The husband cannot be not involved, and that happened because he said she left the home the morning they declared her missing and found the van. So if she was taken away, met somebody in a bar and been gone for hours, the husband was lying.
Penny Van, are y'all seeing a stream that is year round or a stream that's sometimes a dry creek bed?
Year round.
Year round. Okay.
My friend said she saw smoke coming out of the chimney of the house, that the water was really cold, but there was no snow and no ice.
Yes. So
but thick pine forest, she said.
Yeah, that's indicative of that area.
And the stream
the water
seemed to
would be cold at that time of
down but thin. So to me, that indicated steepness.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I believe it's a creek.
That's interesting.
It's the first time I've heard any of us come in on the perp angle, like zone in on the perp.
Right.
Yeah,
usually we zone in on the victim, but this, like, my friend zoned in on the perp.
Well, I could see the guy's face when I was getting choked.
Did anybody
describe him?
The little mustache.
He did have a mustache. He had like a rounded face. He had glasses, and he had like light straight browny blonde hair, and in the back he was missing a tooth because he was grimacing and choking me. And he was like 5'11", medium build, but muscular. He was so strong, and it's like I from the perception of the girl, she was trying to push on his throat to get him off her, And
Yes, Lala got whoever did it was on top of her and
Right.
choked her.
Right.
So let me the missing day is July 20th, 2002, and the car was not an SUV, but it was a Dodge Caravan minivan.
oh, okay.
And you got the color right.
And do you have a picture of the husband, Bob?
I do.
Or
Let me dig it up.
Yeah,
Let me dig
let's
it
see
up.
if we get a picture of the husband.
Oh yeah, look. I mean, he is. Lala gave a pretty good description of him.
Now, don't forget, people, all parties are innocent until proved guilty in a court of law. This is for entertainment purposes only. Just want to throw that disclaimer out there just to make sure. But this is interesting.
Yeah, hang on a minute. I have the one and only picture.
Because what was really interesting, ladies and gentlemen, is the
And this
husband.
just before I bring it up, this picture is exactly the way Lala described him.
Oh,
We're looking. Well,
where'd they go?
where are they?
I don't know. We'll see if they come back because one of the things it was questionable on my behalf is that the husband was not in the media, did not make any media appearances. So,
And
but
then there's
I'd be pleading for help. There they are.
So
What happened?
I hit the X and killed us.
Oh, okay.
It was my fault. I was trying to.
I was like, "Where'd y'all go?"
I was trying to
Let's see.
bring this picture up. So let me present this.
Oh, Lala said he's coming back. I thought the guy on the bicycle got you.
And this guy has a little mustache too.
And Kat, you were great about the government thing because he says it's a government land. So
Mhm.
Okay, notice he has the thin little mustache. That was the first thing I noticed when Lala said it. His hair is a little bit darker than blonde. It's hard to tell because it's in sunlight. And according to family and friends, they were happily married.
That lady doesn't look anything like the photo. Maybe I've zoned in on someone else. Like, to me, that looks nothing like the lady on the photo.
But there was many pictures that we could have choose from. I just picked the one that they had in the media.
Yeah, no, I don't mean any offense, but just like, to me, when I look at this lady, I don't recognize her.
I'm feeling extremely controlling energy just looking at
Yeah.
it. It's just, it is like overpowering, like controlling every aspect of her life. Like,
anger issues.
I don't doubt that. And let me say the further thing that Grizzly, he would hop all over this. He was not involved in the public stuff at the disappearance, and he is not involved in the public stuff in May when they reopened the case. He is just nowhere to be found around this case.
Wow.
So to me, that just screams that the police are doing exactly what they should do: is look at the husband first. They're
Yeah.
going to look at him first. But he hasn't re-entered the case.
Wow.
He's a big boy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
he
tiny.
is. He's got a big build too, doesn't he?
Yeah, and
Very
he, look,
sad.
they lifted appliances.
Oh wow.
And
Look at
see,
his-
and look what Dee said.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
then
And
Not
it
too
was-
bad we
and it
don't
was-
have a
it was-
picture of his father-in-law.
The staging is the father-in-law took off the van, put it in a place, and then he was the one that found it.
Yeah, that's weird
If
he
that
found it.
happened.
It's a bit easy, isn't it?
Yeah, but I just think I do not feel that the Baltimore police did a fantastic job at the disappearance. I just don't. Now we don't know what extenuating circumstances there are. You know, maybe they had enemies we don't even know about, and they just figured, somebody did it because they got angry or whatever. But whatever reason, I'm not saying those reasons, but whatever reason, they have new reasons to. They don't reopen these cold cases and go look for forensic evidence without a reason to get a search warrant. They
Yeah.
have to tell a judge enough to get a search warrant.
Yeah, you got to have probable cause
Yeah.
and enough, circumstantial evidence to have probable cause to go back. Now, somebody just mentioned maybe that the alleged husband, right? Let's just say alleged, maybe that he did suspect her of maybe having something on the side or maybe talking to somebody else, right? Because, and if he did have an anger, right? Alleged anger or temper, because a picture is worth 1,000 words, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
So, and men do get aggressive with other men, can be territorial, and how men can be with women, and women with men. So it can go both ways. So
Makes you wonder if she was looking for a way out of that
Yeah.
relationship. And just
You're not possessive.
knowing how controlling he was, that didn't want to alert him or find a way to alert him or do it in such a way that he would not know. And then one day she's gone and he has no idea where she went,
But the thing that you got to keep coming back to is if he is involved, he lied about the van on the morning of the disappearance. So if he's involved, and because the van story doesn't work if he was involved.
Aren't they supposed to wait 24 hours until they actually go out and look for people that are missing?
I think the trigger was father-in-law finding the van and it was unattended.
Oh.
And so the police came, found the broken off key. Then they knew they had a problem. So before the morning was over, the police were called to part of a crime scene.
if you could, do you still got that article pulled up? Can you read that newspaper article out loud
Sure.
to the psychics? I want you to hear the articulation about this article.
Yep. I'm happy to do it.
I want
Chrissy,
you to.
that's like one of those other cases we did, and the van was magically there in the morning, and
Right.
it's just like that one.
Yeah.
But I want you to listen to this article and
Okay.
tell me what you think. before
Tell
we
me when
wrap
you
up.
can see it.
All right, let me click a button. Go ahead.
All right. Michelle Lee Rust, missing since July 20th, 2002. Baltimore County Police have completed numerous interviews and a thorough study of the evidence and have concluded that the disappearance of Michelle Rust was the result of foul play. Rust disappeared on the morning of July 20 as she was making preparations for her 3-year-old son's birthday party. It was first believed that she disappeared while going to the store to buy supplies for that party. However, interviews with various witnesses have determined that no one saw Mrs. Rust actually leave her house on Clark Boulevard in Arbutus, and no one ever saw her behind the wheel of her vehicle, a green 1998 Dodge Caravan. The van was found on Clyde Avenue in Lansdowne very soon after her disappearance was reported. Investigators have also found that there has been no activity on any of the missing woman's financial accounts. No money has been taken, for example, from ATMs. No checks have been written on her account. In addition, her credit cards have not been used or found. And there has been no trace of her personal property, such as clothes and jewelry she was wearing that day. All credible leads have been investigated with no results, and a $12,000 reward has not generated any meaningful leads. This indicates to detective that no one she had any encounters with, no one has had any encounters with the missing woman. As in any investigation, detectives have attempted to rule out suspects by determining individuals' whereabouts and activities on the day of the disappearance. So far, investigators have been able to root out only her mother and father as suspects. Finally, family members say that Michelle Rust loved her 3-year-old son and would not have disappeared on her own, leaving the child behind. She is also a diabetic and dependent on insulin. This adds more weight to the conclusion that she has been the victim of foul play. And this is a picture of the van right here. And she was 24 years old at disappearance, 5'4", 140 pounds, red hair and blue eyes. She had a permanent retainer on her lower teeth. At the time, she had a cut on the ball of her right foot. She was wearing a black V-neck shirt, a princess cut sapphire ring, a diamond engagement ring, and a white gold cross necklace with diamonds. Her maiden name is Lins, Lins. I believe that's misspelled. I believe it's Lens, but whatever. You can find it.
Right. So now what do you think?
Oh,
Dee says she never left the house.
that's what I felt.
And the
Because
van
I
was
couldn't
staged.
get any double movement. I couldn't get any distances except for up.
Nobody said standing stones where the child is.
And the other-
Nobody says anything. That's pretty much it, isn't it, Bob?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's terrible.
that's all you ever hear about the
'Cause
child. And I looked to see if he had remarried or anything, because she's been absent more than long enough to have her declared dead and for him to remarry.
Like the media was, like I always ask, are the media presently involved? And on this one, it says no.
But they're definitely involved. They put cameras,
Now they
a
are.
reporter, and everything on the May date when they got a search warrant to search the property.
So now she wasn't reported missing until the day of the birthday, allegedly, until they were like, oh, she's not home. She went to the store and she didn't come back.
But they didn't find any evidence she had ever gone to the store.
Yeah, because
said it was a
allegedly they
Walmart.
pulled surveillance
And
tapes,
look,
didn't they?
Walmart has surveillance tapes everywhere because they want to stop union activity.
Dee says she was choked in the house.
That's what Lala said too.
Yeah.
I tried to find out like how she. Sorry, everybody that's involved in this. We don't mean to be hurting your feelings. I tried to find how, like how was she hurt? And I go through the different things, wire, rope, hands, and that one I had to just keep going down and down because of the positioning of the hurt was not normal kind of positioning of hurt in our world, in our land, of our understanding. Other people would understand more than I do, but it seemed mechanical, like clampish, the way it kind of crushed bones and things.
Wow.
And the guys seemed like almost, the three guys that I saw were identical. I couldn't get any facial hair. The eyes were like slit ones, and they kept changing the pupils all the time. I couldn't get hone in on one stable state.
I have an idea. I think you might be picking up on when because a lot of people are abducted throughout their life, and I think that's what you're picking up on. It
felt
common.
like this was the second time.
Right. Yep.
Like it's sad, gentle, like you said, beautiful, vulnerable girl.
Yeah.
But the types around her were involved in other things. Mm-hmm. And because she felt so beautiful and lovely, she was valuable.
Mm-hmm.
That's my feeling anyway.
Wow.
But I did see her sitting on the couch when she was choked.
Inside?
Yep.
Kelly?
Yep.
Yeah. So nowhere, no visions outside?
No.
Yeah.
And then moved after she was killed and dumped.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lala got choked, pinned her down and choked her, and then later moved near the river under a bridge.
Did you get any dragging, like vicious, really vicious dragging?
No, I just got the choke, and I was trying to fight him off.
Fight him off, yeah.
That's what I was really like fighting
I was
him
like,
off.
and he was too heavy, too big, too strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're huge, solid rock, like no blubber, just solid
like
rock.
I'm present. I'm seeing him. I'm feeling it, and then I black out. Well, she blacked out. I didn't. But I was feeling
Wow.
what she felt, you know.
Poor
And
It's
I-
rough.
girl.
It's rough being the physical medium and feeling that stuff.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
And the baby, like you say, where's the little baby?
No
So the
clue.
baby would be like 23 years old now,
Yes.
Yeah.
So
and no
sad.
mention of the father.
24.
Wow.
The baby.
Wow.
Yeah, she went.
I'm
She
so
was missing
sorry,
in
little
2002, and it's 2023. So that's 21 years ago. So 24.
But they are going to find her shoe
Good.
and then
That's
find
good.
her puppy.
Is it red?
No.
I don't think the media. What's that mean, Angela?
Well, this one kept coming up with her. So this is Nadi. So Nadi's is a rune of emergency, but in runic poetry, it's explained as a tight band around the chest. So I kept getting she was restrained. So this is just further indicates it's that tight band around the chest. Like this is how I was, how I was restrained. Like she was held. And I also kept getting this one like associated with Bob here. So this is Sowilo. This is usually a ray of sunlight, but it can also be a lightning bolt. But I feel like you end up getting that that shed of light, that epiphany. Like I know what happened. I know what's going to solve this case. That's what I'm getting from the runes just as we're talking. But the Nadis indicates restraint. Like I can't breathe and it's tight band and I'm constricted and I'm being held against my will.
Wow.
Yeah. Vicious, like really hurty. I'm so sorry, little one.
Well, we'll keep an eye on it, ladies and gentlemen, and see what comes up, and hopefully there'll be some resolution to this case. And too bad Tammy doesn't live too close because she does have a cadaver dog, and but this will be interesting to keep an eye on. That's for sure, especially since everybody came across with pretty much the same information, Bob.
So you can do what I did. Take that article, which you can Google and find, get their address, and go or look at the television show, which they give the exact address and show you the house while they're doing the ground penetrating radar. And from there, you can figure out that they live just inside the ring road around Baltimore on the southwest side, and east of there is the Chesapeake and the bridge that goes over to Kent Island.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm
So
checking 'em
Penny
out.
Van. So what I do is anytime we do these cases, and I feel that we have the appropriate information, right? A lot of departments, government officials, agencies, they kind of restrain from using people with abilities because it's a stigma. Because you have to be vetted with the agency before they can use them. So usually you are a guest, or they use a different title because they cannot go to a judge and say, I have a panel of psychics. I need an affidavit to get money or funding to go out to do a search, or an affidavit or a court order or whatever to do something, right? Because it sounds kind of quirky and whatever. I guess a lot of people won't go for that. So you got to be vetted, number one. Number two, usually I make contact with the chief of detectives or the detective in charge of the case, cold case, or the active detective in charge, and let them know who I am unofficially, not who I was, and let them know that we worked on the case, and give them the link to our show, and let them decide if they want to look at it and review it. And they can make the decision based on what we have, if they want to look into it or not. Now, a lot of times the family members or friends of the family are already aware of the shows. I can tell you that much. And because a lot of the friends and family members send us cases for us to review. So just give you a heads up on that. But yes, I do make contact with the agency. So yes, so that's how we work that. So absolutely. Yes, I realize that we all know LE and agencies and the things just never say the use of the info. Some of them do, and sometimes I call them, they laugh and hang up, and some of them actually listen. So, yes, but that's
Yeah,
why we do the shows.
if they know their judge and know how the judge will react to evidence being introduced that was aided by a psychic, that may not fly in front of a judge. The judge and the district attorney are the people who would determine whether or not any of it can be easily used.
It would
Right.
be hearsay, wouldn't it?
Well, no, a lot of departments and agencies do use people with abilities, but they're vetted. They have to be like, say, like you, right, Kat? So let's say that I was still active, and so you were feeding me information, right? So you told me where, let's say, a body was located. Okay, now I couldn't go to the judge and say, "Hey, Judge, Kat from Australia told me that a body was located by a creek over in Jessamine County by this bridge, 20 feet in this location, right? And here's the map, here's coordinates," because the judge wouldn't let me do it. But if I got a tip off a hotline, right, that said, "Hey, a body's probably located here,"
Oh,
and I
okay.
can get a cadaver dog to go over there and search that, right?
Yep.
Right.
And I can get a hit off a cadaver dog,
Yep.
and that's vetted by you. And I can show the prosecutor, the head prosecutor, right, the DA, district attorney, that I used you several times and you were credible. Then I can then say that, hey, this person is a psychic medium or a medium psychic that has abilities, and this person's helped me on A, B, C, D, and E cases, and this has been right, and this is her percentage that she's been right.
You're fine.
Then they will probably let me use you on certain cases, right? You know,
Yeah.
hey, can I reach out to Kat and see if she can help me on this case?
Yeah.
And just like informants, even when you buy narcotics off somebody, they have to be vetted.
I see Tammy's thanking me. I want to throw a note of caution. Let me throw one note of caution.
Yes.
That bridge goes over a part of the beginning of the Chesapeake. I promise you, it has been massively flooded many times since she went missing. Hurricanes and other things, high tides. I'm worried about if it was a shallow grave just tossed there, like multiple of the psychics said, it's long gone.
It could be.
They're still gonna find her shoe.
Yeah,
that's good.
I heard that.
Good.
I'm sorry, my guides are emphatic.
Good.
I'm not trying to take up time or be right.
No,
But
that's
they're
good.
No. I thought that's extremely valuable information.
No, that is good.
They're like, don't worry about all that stuff. You're gonna find her shoe.
That's good. So hopefully, but that's how the process works. So, because we actually have people that's on the panel that actually works for some of the law enforcement agencies in the past and does, and that's how the vetted process works. And Tammy can actually talk about too, sometimes in the chat, how they can use her cadaver dog as well, and how they have to have that dog vetted and certified to be used in finding and recovering bodies as well. So there is a certification process and vetted process as well. And Dee says, my guides keep mentioning shoes too. So,
or if you're invited by a policewoman, like I got to work on a case that a guy disappeared from a bar and was missing, and I got to go and find the bar. We went to about 5 bars. One guy didn't believe me, but by the time we got to the 5th bar, I said, all these bars aren't the right bars. You need a dock. You need it needs to smell like still beer and salt water and have a gravel driveway. So we finally went to the 5th bar, and it had the bar, and it smelled like stale beer, salt water, and gravel driveway, wooden floor. And that's where the guy disappeared from. And I told him that he was in a compact car and that they'd find him in Canal 51. Well, they did. They did a year later, they did a test dive and they found the car and the guy, and he had a yellow shirt, blue jeans, cowboy boots, and he was bludgeoned in the head.
See?
Well done, Kelly.
You know, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying that you can get invited. You know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, there we go, Bob. What do you think? Good show.
That was a great one.
Yeah.
I this case really leaped out at me.
Yeah. Good job, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
good job. Thanks for participating, and we'll see what we can do on the next one. And from coast to coast around the world, y'all have a good night, everybody.
Bye, ladies.
Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye. Blessings to the daughter.